Here I am, landing in the city of Shibuya, about to help Spider Zero fight her way back onto the Spider Islands and stitch together the rift above the city, when I came upon a sudden realization. There are no bathrooms in Marvel Rivals. You can go to any map in the game, search every nook and cranny for a restroom, porta potty, or even just a bathroom sign and not find a single one. As far as I'm aware, there are no bathrooms in the entire game. And I can tell what you're thinking. Are you really worried about whether or not there's a toilet in the new hit hero shooter Marvel Rivals? And to that I'd say, fair point. So why am I interested in the lavatories of the Marvel Universe? What's the deal? Well, asking that question got me thinking about how level designers make a map feel real to us as we play them. How a series of polygons and textures can become a believable space you can walk around in, and the tricks the developers use to make that possible. Maps and games are made in a way to fool your brain into seeing them as real spaces. The floors and walls may make it look like a real room, but real rooms like this aren't often 1 pixel thick. And the bottom end of these pixel thick frames aren't even rendered. It's really not a stretch to say that most video game environments are like looking through a one-way mirror, with the player on the mirror side. Skyboxes too are often just pictures plastered across the boundaries of the play space. They often look visually stunning, but are hardly more than that, and by themselves can't fully convince a player that the space they're playing in is real. Because of all of this, developers have to use 2 major tricks to convince you that this is real. Number 1, pulling down the curtains. Blocking where the camera can go. Invisible walls and death planes are some of the many ways developers prevent you from breaking the illusion of a map. And then to keep you from breaking that illusion yourself, the game gives you plenty of things in front of the curtain to pay attention to instead. The second trick. Details. See these railings? They are on the arcade map Ninomura, and they are breakable, much like many things in the game. But there's a little difference about these railings. They don't break down. They break up. The shattered pieces float up after being broken, which feels off until you look up to see the gigantic rift in the skybox. These broken pieces float up to sell the idea that the skybox is representing, that being a giant rift sucking up everything in the city. These are the details that make a map work, filling it up with all sorts of bits and bobs that fit with the image you're trying to create. An airbase would have a ship, a research facility would have a lab, and a city would have a street. These details make the image the developers want the players to see, and the more you put in, the more it makes the map believable as a real place. But in saying that, Marvel Rivals doesn't have all of the details. I proved it at the start of the video that none of the maps in the game have a place to tingle. An entire city having no bathrooms sounds very unrealistic, and surely should break my immersion. Right? Well, no, it didn't. There's not a single place for our heroes to relieve themselves in the entire game, and it doesn't matter. And realizing that made me wonder, at what point was I convinced that this map made sense? That stuff like this didn't matter. See this? This is the bathroom in the game Apex Legends. I have a lot of experience looking around the maps of Apex, and that's why I can tell you that this bathroom is sick. The map it is on is meant to be a mining colony, with quickly put together houses scattered all around the map to house the workers as they worked at the different facilities and sites. And this bathroom is a perfect showcase of that style. It's cramped, shoved into a corner, paper thin, and you know somebody has to go in at the end of the week to drain it out because there's no way this thing is connected to a sewage system. This bathroom is a fantastic showcase of the image the map wants to create. But not every map in Apex has bathrooms, because they all don't need bathrooms to convey the image of the space. Let's compare this to a Rockstar game. A game like Grand Theft Auto sells you the realness of its maps through realism. Man, what great writing I have here. It's a game more likely to add a toilet at the end of the building to keep up the idea of a real city. But most games don't need to do that to make you believe in it. Most just need a few pieces that give the idea that yes, this is a ramen shop. Yes, this is a store. No, this is not an illegal firearm I am holding, please ignore that. In an odd way, games can actually suffer if you put in too much to distract them. Adding unnecessary obstacles or rooms can confuse players and make a map hard to traverse. So taking out unnecessary spaces like bathrooms in games like Marvel Rivals make playing on the maps easier. In fact, they do a lot more than just bathrooms. Buildings connect in weird ways to make flanks. Rooms are empty save for the one object in the center to block sightlines, and sometimes you have to ask what the architects were smoking with some of the layouts of these hallways. They make sense and play well gameplay-wise, but take a moment to pay attention to them and they kind of look off. If Marvel Rivals is designed in a way that is laid out so unrealistically, they need a different set of details to pull you in. and they do it in arguably the most over-the-top way possible. How many multiplayer maps do you know of that have stories in them? Sure, they may have some lore or a reason for you being there, but how many have voice lines, cutscenes, an entire plotline ongoing throughout your play?
Do you see that? The web of life and destiny, it's shifting. And is that me?
On the map Yggdrasil Path, if you start in the attacker spawn, you actually have a ghostly image of Loki taunting you at the beginning of the match.
Fools, do you truly
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Are you sure about that? The whole story of this map is stopping Loki from tapping into the power of the Tree of Yggdrasil, and this little taunt at the beginning tells you that you're the heroes coming to defeat him.
Welcome to Rocket's tree service.
It pulls you right into the narrative in true comic book fashion as soon as it can, and that narrative detail helps to make you believe in the trail you're blazing towards the device you have to destroy. Hell, it almost makes you forget that the Loki on your team is fighting against himself. Wait a minute.
Another variant? Which
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I wonder.
Side tangent, Yggdrasil Path also has this really cool map in the spawn room that showcases the layout of the entire level. I don't have anything to say about it, I just think it's cool. But while adding the story is cool and helps bring more character to each game you play, I don't think it actually solves the problem of making the map feel real. In fact, I have spent over 30 hours playing Marvel Rivals, mostly Rocket Raccoon, and I don't even know most of these stories. I don't know who this guy is, why we're here, or even if I'm the good guy, but my god, that music is blaring for my victory, so let's get it. I think what the stories on the map really do is set up a fantastic stage. Here's me walking around Eldritch Monument on the Hydra base map to explain it better. They're not nearly as realistic. They don't feel like they're lived in, if that makes sense. They look like a stage, which in a way makes sense because this is a comic book universe, and pretty much every location and space you end up going to is a stage for our heroes to fight in. But it feels especially like that because there's just not a lot of specifics on these maps. They don't really feel like lived-in spaces. That doesn't mean that they're bereft of details though. Like you'll have like shifting spaces that move around as you go through them. And that's actually a really, really cool detail, and I really like that. Like, this is cool. Like, the Eldritch powers are activating, and you can even see the fucking Eldritch being coming on to say hello. It tells you that, like, one side is, like, trying to awaken the Eldritch being within, while the other one is not. Now, I have played on the map several times before recording that, and I have never noticed this little guy hanging out in the skybox after capturing a point. You could literally tell I had no idea it was there as I was talking. This gigantic detail, literally in my face, I had never seen. But the game had already sold me on its gameplay and presence enough that I didn't need to. The fact these rooms and walkways have no functional purpose didn't cross my mind either. And that's the power of good map design. Marvel Rivals sets up its matches as if they were ripped straight out of the comic book, putting you directly into the panels of the page as quickly as it can. And the details on the maps are built to facilitate that. All the breakable terrain mirrors the big action of a superhero fight. The homages to different comics and heroes on the map help pull you into the universe. And the story beats that appear throughout the game place you as the character in a grand stage play. It doesn't really matter which of these details gets you to believe in the map's concepts, whether it's the fully functional drums or giant spider delivery bots. As long as one of them convinces you, the rest are just set dressing to the experience you have. You probably don't even know how much you've missed in other games you've played because of that. But you'd be surprised how easy it is to break that illusion. In fact, sometimes it's as simple as one question. Where's the bathroom?
Have you seen a bathroom on any Rivals maps? Trying to find one. Why?
I did a little experiment where I went to different streams playing Marvel Rivals and asked them a simple question. Have you seen any bathrooms in the game?
Quick question, have you seen any bathrooms on any of the Rivals map? I'm trying to find one. Why?
I feel like this is like a setup for a joke or something. Because you play like shit, Sai!
And surprisingly, I was only banned in one stream. Most people didn't think too much of it, but there were a few that tried to rationalize it.
You only have one option, and it's to piss your pants. This is why superheroes wear diapers.
No, I haven't. I just...
Clearly, these streamers were still deep into the illusion. This question couldn't possibly break them. Or they just didn't care as much, but that isn't as fun. The part that I found most interesting were these reactions.
Quick question, sir. Have you seen a bathroom on any Marvel? Wait a minute. You're distracting me. I'm gonna start missing my shots now.
Some started paying attention to the world around them.
I don't think so. Now I'm curious. Is there something in the restrooms? Can I load up like a practice match? Or would a restroom be?
That is a good point, bro. Isn't that like an OSHA violation? Don't you have to have like a certain amount of bathrooms per square feet? Yeah, where are the wheelchair ramps? That's another good point. These maps are not very wheelchair accessible.
Do you think Tony Stark gets out of his entire suit every time he needs to piss?
And there's no restrooms in the entire game. That's something only you would notice more. Watch me find a restroom right now. You ready? In here, ready? Okay, maybe not.
And that was by far the best reaction I could have hoped for. Because everything I have talked about in this video, all of these fun little details in Marvel Rivals can be lost if you don't notice them before you've gotten used to the game. And you likely won't get the chance to before you move on to something else. So the real reason why I wonder why there are no bathrooms in Marvel Rivals isn't because there should be, but rather because it gave me the ability to look at these maps in a brand new way, and find something interesting in every corner. So when you start playing a new game, don't forget to ask about seemingly innocuous things from time to time. You'll never know what you'll end up finding in the process. But seriously, I've had to pee for this entire video and I have nowhere to do it. You know what? Just go look over there. I'll be right back.